Why are so many people being returned at the airport? And in this video, I want to tackle reasons why you might be returned at the airport while you're traveling to another country. And as someone who is in the travel industry, I've seen so many people being returned at the airport and denied their travel, maybe to Canada, the US, Australia, different countries, because they did not know these reasons, the ones I'm going to give you, can lead you to be denied entry into that country, or even exiting from the airport whereby you are departing from. For example, in your African country, Asian country, you're traveling to the US, and then you end up being denied even boarding the plane because of different reasons. And the first one, which I want to talk about, is lack of proper travel plans. Because most times, once you are selected for grilling, you do not have proper travel plans. And that is why I say, before you travel, you should have a proper travel itinerary, because this will help you to be able to remember and also communicate to the what do you call them? The port of entry officers, whatever name they call themselves in the country, or immigration officers, will help you to be clearly and concisely be able to tell them, from here I'm going to this place, and from here I'm going to this place, I'm attending this seminar. Then after the seminar, I'm going to attend to see a few places maybe in this country. And from there, I'll board my plane back home or onwards to another country. Depends with your travel plans. So you need to be able to defend and show your travel plans. And the same you should be able to support yourself financially, because then again, your travel plans should not be something you cannot be able to support yourself financially, because with that and the financial muscle not being able to defend yourself, the border officer will not allow you to get into that country, because maybe they'll see that you are lying. The second one is I've seen so many people carrying their education certificate, maybe their secondary school certificate, their university degrees, and they're traveling on a visit visa or on a tourist visa. And in your backpack, you've carried your degree. Let me switch that off. You're carrying your degree, and that raises suspicion, because it means that basically you are going to look for a job, and there's no justification for you to carry your certificate or degrees while you are on a tourist visa. It won't explain anything. Otherwise, if you need to use those certificates or documents, you'd better tell someone to send them later once you change your plans, because obviously we know sometimes you can change your plans while in a foreign country. So at that point, you can tell someone to forward those documents to you, because it's easier using the couriers like DHL, G4S. There are so many couriers who can bring your documents or whatever you need while you are in that foreign country. The other thing which is common, I see common, is a basically just lack of confidence. Someone is just asked a simple question, and they, because of anxiety, they lose confidence, and they don't know how to answer questions, and they become tongue-tied, however you call it. They just cannot say anything because they're already tensed. And at the back of the mind, you had that plan. Maybe you had planned you want to go and settle in that country or get married to someone in that country. And because you know that at the back of the mind, it makes you tense when the border officer calls you from the line, because most times, most Africans will be, you can easily be singled out, and that is what happens all over the world. That is quite unfortunate, but it basically happens for many Africans traveling. Mostly, if you are traveling on a black, you are traveling on an African passport, you'll most likely get into trouble. And many Africans have gotten into trouble traveling across the world because there is generally what we call general suspicion, because of our skin color. But anyway, we are hoping that things are going to change. The other thing which I see for most people traveling for conferences is traveling for conferences which are expired, or conferences which are not related to your career. They cannot be related to you in any way. Let me just say that. For example, you are traveling on an expired conference. Maybe the conference was supposed to be held at around September or August, and you are traveling in September. The border officer will most likely deny you entry, because there's no reason for you to travel to that country on an expired conference. Basically, what it means that you have other plans, and you should have declared those plans before you travel. So the way you should handle this is by, I usually say, the way to handle this is by making sure that you get another conference date. And there are different conferences, and there are places we've shared in this platform whereby you can search for conferences if the one you had been invited to has already expired. There are different ways of looking for conferences and applying to them and attending those conferences the legal way, the correct way, instead of traveling on an expired conference. Also, whenever you are booking a conference, you should book a conference which is related to you. For example, by virtue of your employment, or by virtue of maybe of your status. There are different ways you can. For example, you can be a church leader and you are attending a church conference. That is plausible. That is understandable. But you are a church leader and you want to attend a conference for Hindus. That is not explainable, that is not plausible, and the chances are that the border officer will deny you entry into that country. So if you are traveling on a conference, make sure that the conference is related to you in a way and you can properly explain it, and the border officer will not be able to see any kind of suspicion in your story. But if that the whole story doesn't marry each other, from the travel document, from the plans, from the confidence, to the carrying of education certificates. Basically, I've seen so many people being returned at the port of entry because of general suspicion, because how you presented yourself is not something which can be properly or easily understood. So I would request you, my people, make sure that all your documents, all the conferences you are attending, anything which is concerning you is properly aligned. The other thing which I usually see as a reason for people being denied entry is general mispresentation of information. And that is what in a layman's language we can call lying. We know that you do not need to tell everything, but make sure that whatever you say is something which you can defend in any place. So, for example, you feel that you are married while applying for the visa, and at the port of entry, you state that you are single. This will generally raise suspicions, and there are 100 reasons for the visa officer to deny you entry because of mispresentation. And let me tell you this: what you feel, for example, in the DS260, DS160, whichever, or whichever application of a visa you used for whichever country, the port of entry, while you arrive in that country, the border officer has that information in front of their computer, and they are looking at it once they get your passport. They are able to see. So if you try to lie, chances are that you will be returned at the airport, at the port of entry, and that is the most painful thing I've seen happening to people, because imagine you have traveled all the way from Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, to Canada or the US or whichever country, and you'll be returned at the port of entry. You've seen the country, but you cannot enter because the airport is considered to be an international space. So you've seen the country, but you cannot leave the airport. You are just within, and you at that point, they are likely to return you to your home country. The other thing I usually see many people being returned with is a lack of enough funds. We know that sometimes people get bank statements which are not the correct ones, not theirs in this case, and be able to apply for the visa. And it might not be detected at while applying for the visa because of the backlog. They're not able to verify everything. And at the port of entry, the visa officer the border officer is likely to ask you, Jackson, how much money do you have? And they should be able to defend how much money you have in cash and in the bank. And most times I've seen people being asked to even produce their bank statement, being asked to activate their bank whatever application, the application in the phone for the bank, to be able for the visa officer to see the actual balance in the bank statement. So if you misrepresented yourself while applying for the visa, then at the port of entry, you are being asked for this information, you are not able to provide it, it becomes hard, and the chances are that the high chances are that you'll be returned at the port of entry. Also, sometimes the border officer, they usually ask you how much money do you have on you, and that is cash money. So they are trying to gauge and see, do your travel plans, can you be able to support the travel plans you said you are traveling to or from? Are you able to support yourself with the money you have, or you are planning to come and work in this country? So the amount of money you have should be able to explain, should be able to cover your travel expenses or money you'll need during that stay and back to your home country. And generally, I know people have been returned at the port of entry because of general suspicion, and it's quite unfortunate because the 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 border officers, they are final, and if they decide to return you at the port of entry, there's nothing much you can do apart from just going back to your home country. So thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure that you watch another video here, which I'm going to attach. Thank you very much. Have a good day.